Hi, everybody. This is Dee Reinhardt with Illinois WorkNet. We are doing our technical assistance session today for the program managers. And I am going to back up and start over just a second because I forgot to hit record when we first started. So where we landed is on the customer list. We picked ISETS and we got to the list of customers. On the customer list, you can change the view to 50 so that you can see all of your people at one time, or more than all of your people at one time. It will limit the number of pages. You can filter at the top of each column to filter by last name, or if you want to check by provider, you can filter by provider, date, status, etc. You can, if you as a program manager want to add a customer, when you click on the add customer, you can select from a number of organizations for which you would have access. Assigned as that program manager, you are assigned specific agencies and offices. So then you would see all of those in that list. One of the other things that we can do is I added a customer who had been synced with IES from some test data that we were given that's about 10 years old. And we have an actual SNAP case ID. We have an actual individual number. So you will see in here what the status is on the customer overview page. And then we were just speaking about where you might go as a program manager to check details on a customer's profile. And that would more than likely be the overview page. That's why we have it built the way that we built it. You can check on referrals to see if something is pending. If it's pending, you might need to prod someone to take action, or you might be able to take action on their behalf. Under the attendance, you might want to verify the attendance that was submitted on a staffing report. Under activities, the same thing, you may want to verify that the activities are actually happening. Support services, we have a list for what the support services are that have been offered, and we were just asked a question: do we have a way to track whether somebody has exceeded? It will show the percentage of the dollar value that has been paid out. So once they hit that goal, I believe it does not allow them to add any additional dollars, but we will have to ask that check. So let me make a note. And for the person that asked that question, is there a way, should someone need that, is there a way for them to get an exemption or an exclusion so that they can go over that? Am I getting my terms wrong? Am I supposed to be doing the provider managers? Is that the term that I'm supposed to be using?
Yeah, provider manager.
Okay.
These are IDHS staff who manage our relationships with providers. So they are provider managers.
Okay, so these are for provider managers. I'm confused.
Okay, provider manager and program manager are very similar, but they are different. Program managers work inside of a provider or a CBO, and they manage the internal program. Okay. Provider managers manage the providers.
Okay, so we did the program managers yesterday because we talked to the CBO people yesterday. So now you guys are provider managers. Okay, I'll get that straight. Okay, So we do have charts that show you, and I can show you on a different customer, that shows you if they've maxed out what 100% of it is. And we will get dollar values based on the specific program, so that transportation might be $250 for SnapJP, but it might be $300 for earnfare. And so we will have caps in the back end of the system so that it will show you what you have spent according to the amount that is supposed to be there. So then back to my question, is there the ability for someone to have a special circumstances where they can exceed that amount?
For supportive services, yes.
Okay.
So there's a supportive service WAG that has been published, and it has all of these guidelines, and there is in general a $2,000 per year maximum for each individual. However, some of the subcategories or categories, you can go over the posted maximum, but it requires supervisor approval. And in many cases, the person who would approve that would either be the provider manager, or like Charles or Roger might have to take a look at that and sign off. But if it is reasonable and necessary for somebody to either get a job or keep a job, and they make a good case for it, we can approve that.
Okay, excellent.
That's the official policy.
Excellent. So then we'll have to have some sort of trigger built in that a provider manager or above can check a box and say that this is approved for more.
Yeah, I think we already have that actually. If somebody tries, if a provider tries to put in a supportive service that is more than the maximum amount that's programmed into the system, it would trigger like special approval for that to go through. And so it would probably go to the provider manager that is assigned to that provider to like take a look at.
Okay, excellent. All right, and then we talked about completed, exited. This will tell whether or not they've actually completed and what the status was. Credentials earned, and then employment. We have discussed about the agencies, the providers submitting the documentation and then having a checkbox for the provider manager to verify that form of employment verification is valid and accepted. We have another question here. Is the SS issued
the supportive service.
Supportive services.
It's just tracked in the system. The system doesn't actually send any money anywhere. So a provider would still need to either send out or hand a customer a gift card, or, they would, if it's a, like something large, like an auto repair or a bike purchase or something like that, like usually that payment goes right to the service provider, and then the customer would be able to take their car in there. Like there are different ways that providers issue those payments. Sometimes it's a bus card or something else, and that goes to the customer, and then the customer has to actually sign for it. All of that is happening outside of the system, but then they would need to document that they gave the customer that. And inside the system, they can put like the venture card number, and they can load those in ahead of time on the back end. So a provider could buy a whole stack of venture cards and add those into the system with all of the, the specific numbers for those venture cards, and they can issue those documented in the system, and then like document which venture card they gave to somebody. And so it does actually allow providers to do a little bit of, I guess I'll call it like logistics or like inventory in that way. But a lot of times it's you know, a Visa gift card or a Target card, or I don't know, something else. It depends on what the supportive service is, but they're really just documenting it in the system. And then like if an FCRC or somebody else is also giving supportive services, they would document it in here too. So it all gets added to that customer's total, so that nobody's giving the customer duplicative supportive services. Of course, if they hand somebody a venture card or a transportation card and they don't document it in the system, and then somebody else also gives them a transportation card, then, you know, the system doesn't work if people don't use it.
So I just added a service or a transportation service to this client so that you could see, because I don't have a dollar cap limit set on this service yet. It's showing that I issued one for $1 and it's 100%. So that's what would happen is once we have the dollar caps associated with the service, then it will show that $1 out of 200 might be a fraction of a percent. And then if I go back to their overview page, it's going to show me under the support services that same graph. And I can click on the graph, or I'm supposed to be able to click on the graph and then go to that service. So we're still waiting on a little bit of information for a couple of additional support services that we're not sure if there's a cap associated with them or not, so that we can figure out all of them and get them hooked up appropriately. Okay, the next piece that I want to show you is on the dashboard. Under ISETS, you all as provider managers, I'm going to get this right, you can select your organization from the drop down up above. It defaults to the current year and will default to FY 2022 to FY 22, and then we'll add years moving forward. If you are part of a specific region, you'll be able to select the entire region and see numbers comparatively. You might not necessarily be able to see all of the specific numbers, but you will be able to see, say there's 2 provider managers in region 1. You would see all the numbers, but you might not see all of the specific numbers. Again, we have the goals. So now this goal is based upon all of your providers. And the status is based upon all of your providers. So if you have a goal as a provider manager, you would want to check this periodically as well. And then you can click to lower north, search, and it will give you, my dashboard is being worked on, I apologize, but it will give
different provider, like Kara, pick Kara or something else.
I'm going to try Asian Human Services because I think theirs is working.
Yeah, they have test data in there, I think.
Yeah,
I tried the other Asian Human Services. Sorry, that I don't think there were 2 of them. Yeah, that one.
That's the wrong one.
Oh.
I think he hasn't necessarily worked on this manager piece yet. So I'm going to take it back to the full. Oh, I think I just broke it now. All right. Again, this is our test environment. So he's working on things as I'm trying to do this demonstration. So I always try to let them know that I've got a training, but he may have pushed something. But again, we have the list of information so that you will be able to see specifically, once you select your provider, you will be able to see specifically the exact details that are associated with that particular provider. Or if you want to view the snapshot, you'll be able to see. So like right here, we've got 42 red flags. Those red flags mean that somebody's not accepting or rejecting the referrals that have been coming to them. So if I click on that list, it will give me a list of those people so that I can go in and see, okay, well, I've got Asian Human Services has 10, Kara has 2, Haymarket has 1, Lower North has 6, and then Sangamon County, I don't know how that one got in there, but Sangamon County has 1 in this list. And then you can go to the customer's profile and check to see what's going on. You will also have access to the billing reports so that you can check. Now, this is not ready yet, so we'll do another session for the billing documents, but I just wanted to show you that it is under the reports. Under the provider information, you will be able to see who has appointments set up based on the various locations that you have access to. So if somebody needs to add some more appointments, you can trigger them. You can upload files, see who has things uploaded. You can filter by provider. And we had a situation that it was Aunt Martha's, I forget the rest of their company, their organization name, but Aunt Martha's had 3 locations. And so we put in which address was associated with that person so that we could pick the specific organization rather than having to guess. Under the provider details, again, we have all of the contracts that are associated with your assigned providers. And these will be clickable to view. Andy, will the provider managers have access to edit contracts? Because we talked about those updates yesterday. We had that question about, and I don't know if you were on that session where they asked about that. If a contract is modified, that was the question. If a contract is modified, who will make the update to the contract information? And I thought it was somebody that was in this group right here that is going to ask.
Kathy Jackson asked that question. I don't think she's on today.
She's not on today. Okay. All right. So that's something that we'll need to find out if there's a trigger in the dashboard that we can put up for that. And then ENT programs, you guys will be able to see, edit and remove programs. I'm not so sure that you would necessarily edit them as much as you might remove them if they're no longer being offered. And then case notes, you will see the organizational case notes. Remember, these are organizational case notes, not individual customer case notes. And it might be that you want somebody to upload their contract, or it might be that performance improvement case note. You will see the case notes, and me at a state level would see those case notes. Andy at a state level, anybody at a full need to see everything would have access to those. And then they could also add them and select who they want to. I need to add the add case note button here. All right. And then on here, you can click at the top of the column to filter by organization, or the top of the date column, whatever you want to do. Who was it entered by? This is one of my programmers that was working on the program. So this is the provider information. All right, I'm going to pause to see if there's any questions so that I might be able to cover specific things.
Hi, this is Karen. I am trying to follow you. My screen, I don't have two screens, so I'm viewing what you put. So I was trying to follow where you are with the provider information. I have appointments on my screen but I wasn't able to fully see how you got to where you are because my screen is small.
Can you minimize my view on by going up at the top of the screen up here should be a thing that shows a green button, I believe. It might be a red button, and you can exit full view so that you can kind of minimize me and put me over on the side, and then you can see your screen a little bit more. Will clicking the back arrow in the browser take you out of the system completely as in IES? I don't know. Let's try. No. I haven't ever tried that before. I do know that in most of the stuff that we do, if you click on something, it will open up a new tab. So you might end up with 20 tabs open, and you might have to close some of those tabs. All right. Karen, did you get yourself squared away there? Karen, Bobarin, banana, Vanna, Bobarin. Did you get did you get that minimized and back to so you can see both spots? Karen doesn't love me anymore. She's not talking to me. Okay. All right. Okay, do I need to go over anything specifically? I'm going to go back. I'm going to close this dashboard view and see if I can get back to get to all the numbers. Okay. When we're going down through here, we have the snapshot view, we have the graph view, and then we have the list view. And for those of you that worked with Epic, you might remember seeing a dashboard that looked pretty confusing. And we took the suggestion of making the colors a little bit more vibrant so that you could tell the difference. And we took the suggestion that we got from a feedback session about putting in the snapshot view. And both Natasha and I were like, wow, that's a really good idea. So we will try at every chance we get to take suggestions from the field. So as Andy said earlier today, if you do take your lunchtime or whatever time you have available today and you play around with this, we do appreciate the fact that there is some room for improvement every time, all the time. We also have an idea moving forward that we want to take this same kind of look to a customer profile, so that instead of this, we would have that same kind of snapshot view available. And let me show you. I'm gonna pull our planning board over. Oh, come on. So this is our plan for what we want to try to do with the overview page on the customer, so that the status would tell you at a glance whether something is good or bad. What do you guys think about that? Can I get some thumbs up? Yes, okay. I got one thumbs up, so that's good. Oh, 2, 3, got it. All right. Yeah, we both thought that this would be a really good idea here. Okay. Get to the provider screen again. Okay. Karen, from the dashboard? Or from the, you meant the provider information. Okay. All right. So from your top menu, from your top menu where your login is, you go to the thing that looks like an opened folder. And that will get you to the appointment screen, the file uploads, the provider details, which is basically the contract information, and then there is more stuff available if you click on a particular provider. So if I click on Asian Human Services, it's supposed to give me the contract information. It's supposed to give me any audits that were performed, and we're going to add buttons so that if we need to add audit results, if we need to check on the locations, we're going to, it has a list of the ENT programs, and it has a list of the work sites associated with that organization. It won't give you all of that for everybody, I don't think. Let me double check this. No, it won't. So you do have to pick a specific provider. Okay. So thank you, Andy, for answering her on the chat. And then under the ENT programs, this is just the programs themselves, but you can filter by program, and it will give you all of the SNAP job placement programs. You can click a filter at the top to search by provider. And then if you're searching for a specific provider, then you can click on that to see what their program is. I have a question about who uploads the contract information. Right now in test, I did it, but in production, Andy, I believe you're going to do that initially, correct?
Yeah, in the beginning, I have all the information for the FY22 contracts, and so we will add all of that information before we go live. However, as amendments are made, you all as provider managers will likely be privy. You'll be aware of when a provider needs to make a contract amendment. And when that happens or gets executed, I'll need to know so that I can go in and alter the contract or their budget. Like maybe it's a budget, like we'll just need to go into the system and edit the budget, because then that affects their goals and other things. So if the goals or the contract amount or the budget gets amended, then we just need to know so that we can go into the system and edit that. Also, on the provider side, the administrator or program manager on the provider side, whoever is the manager of the ENT services for the provider, will have access to that. So if they, for some reason, like need to change it, they can go in and change a contract. But we also have state workforce development staff who can also change contract information as well.
All right, and then the case notes. Karen, did you follow all of that now this time? Okay, and then back up again in the top, I'm calling this the workNet menu because it takes you from segment to segment. This is the place where you can get all of the different reports. And right now we have to come back to billing and staffing because that piece is not completely built yet. And we also have a few other reports available. We have the customer services report. We have a credentials report. We have a worksite placement report. Some of these Illinois WorkNet statistics reports are just available for everybody. So you can check to see who's logging in regularly. Might be something that you might want to check to see, are your local offices checking in? Are your agencies checking in? Because that might give you a clue as to why you have 43 pending referrals.
There's something that we have added that's relatively new. I think all the provider managers are aware of this, but we're asking in this system and on our new periodic performance reports for providers to report the industries that people are getting employed in. And some of the performance measures are related to, like, are people getting jobs in high growth industries? And I believe Illinois WorkNet does have the labor market information for different industries and whether they are considered high growth or not. But is that linked from this page? Is that data available in this page or no?
It
I think that would be something that provider managers would want, especially if they're like in region 1, they would want to kind of look at the information in that geographic area and be able to talk to their providers about what the state of Illinois has published and considers, you know, high growth industries in their area.
I'm trying, it's on this dashboard. I thought that it was in the outcomes credential.
Maybe we can make a note of that and include it in,
yeah,
in later trainings. But I know we wanted to give you guys that tool so that if we're asking providers to keep an eye on that information, we want you all to have that information as well, so everybody has access to the same information.
Oh, here's what I was looking at. This was the credentials. We were also looking at industry under the employment. That's I think where we were planning on putting that. Was putting the industry in a graph like what I'm showing on the credentials. I think that's where we were trying to put that. But I'll make a note and make sure that we get that added.
Thanks. So you as provider managers will have some tools built into the system so that when your providers say like, well, what's the high growth industry? You can show them where it is and you can look at it in the same place and say, look, here's the high growth industries that are for your area. And then compare that with what training they're offering and what kinds of jobs they're actually placing people in so that you will have better information to be able to manage your providers better.
We have a couple of tools on Illinois WorkNet for our people, for anybody to use. But we have a list of demand occupations, and we have the 16 core industries. I think we're tracking 17 for IDHS, and I think we broke down arts from audiovisual. I remember there's one of these that got broken down into two that we count as one. The other thing that's available for just use is the demand occupations search. If you want to enter a keyword in here, I kind of use welding a lot for my examples. I can search to see what kind of jobs are demand growth. So right here, we've got building maintenance workers has an annual opening of 6,500 per year, and the median wage is $20. And median is based upon the entire state of Illinois. So if you're looking for some career information or details, you can look at one of these further links. So this information is all fed by state LMI data, as well as some federal ONET data. So those are just a couple of the resources that are available through Illinois WorkNet from our work that we do otherwise. If we need to, as an enhancement, if we need to include some of this demand information in there, we can take a look at that. If I go to, we got a question about breaking the information down by region. I teach a job seeker workshop on occasion, and I love this career wages and trends search. And if I go to, let's say I go to health science, and I want to look for let's say I want to look for a cardiopulmonary technologist. It's considered a high growth industry because it's got the arrow that goes up. If I get shown this information, but if I go to this job facts and wages, come on, buddy, click. There we go. If I go to wages and trends, I can look by corridor area. So I live in Elgin. I would say for the DeKalb, Elgin, Aurora area, the median wage for my area is $21 an hour. In Cook County, the median wage is $24.19. So this is maybe not necessarily regions, Roger, but it is a breakdown by economic corridor. And it's even not the EDR, because there's 10 economic development regions in the state of Illinois. So this is broken down a little bit further, but you can see that some of the more southern areas have lesser wages. So depending on where you are, Edwardsville is down by St. Louis. We've got McHenry County. It's just north of where I live, but it's a median wage of $18. So that's, would you like this link in the chat, Roger? All right. You can float around and take a look. It sounds like you're interested in that economic development kind of stuff. I just put it out there for everybody so that you can check and take a look. All right,
it's much appreciated. Thank you much.
We're totally off track, but
sorry.
It's okay. That's okay. It took us someplace where you needed some information, so that's good. All right. What else can I show you? Tracy got booted. Let's get her back in. What else may I show you all?
Go ahead and just unmute if you have questions or concerns. This is your moment.
It's your 15 seconds of fame.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you guys have, thank you, Valencia, Valencia, right?
It's okay. It's Valencia.
Valencia.
Yes.
So that sounds like a Latin first name, but your
It
last
is.
name looks quite German. to me.
German. I know my first and my middle name is Latin and my last name is German. And I'm African American. Go figure.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, ma'am.
It's worldly.
Yes. Oh, what are people going to do if a hyphenated person marries a hyphenated person and they try to put all the 4 names together?
Wow.
That's just mind blowing to me. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I think that if you don't have any additional questions for me that we can put on the recording, we have a half an hour that not quite 23 minutes that we can give you back that you can just play on your own. I will be resetting these passwords at the end of the day. I will send you new information for Tuesday. And remember, we will do a sync with IES on Tuesday. So that information I will send out by email Monday afternoon. So look for your emails first thing on Tuesday.
And just so you all know, all of the trainings for next week will be posted today so that your providers can sign up for more trainings next week. And we will have some additional trainings throughout the month of October. And we'll start to post the recorded videos of the trainings that went really well.
Yeah, we might take down some of the other ones.
Yeah, thanks for participating. And like I said before, we're always happy to have your feedback and your questions.
Have a great rest of your day, everybody. Have a good weekend. Bye.
Bye.
You as well.
Thank you.
You as
Enjoy
well.
your
Well,
weekend,